Hey guys, Jason Lanier here. I'm going to film a video on the 10 best tips on how you can travel efficiently, safely, and with the least amount of trouble. And when you do experience trouble, how you can best work around it. Over the past 5 years, I think I've flown 600 some odd thousand miles. I've flown to 5 different continents all over the world, obviously, many countries, states, all that. I mean, I this year alone, I've stayed in hotels and or away from my house. I think it's 110 nights. So needless to say, I've traveled a lot and I want to share a lot of my experiences with you. I'm currently sitting in a hotel room because it's New Year's Eve and 2015, and I was stranded by Delta here in New York. So I put together some notes here. These are super fancy. This is kind of how I roll. Now I'm a photographer, for those of you who may not know me. This video will be a little bit about photography, but it's mostly about just traveling in general and how you guys can make the best out of all situations when traveling. So let's get started. Number 1, never check vital gear. Whatever it is that you do, me as a photographer, me checking my gear would be a big mistake. I don't care what airlines tell you, what they guarantee you, what they do. It's always a huge mistake to check your gear. What does that mean? When you get to the ticket counter, don't let them take it away. Keep it on your person at all times. So whether you're a business person, whatever it is that you do that you want to make sure you're able to do at your destination, make sure that you keep on your person. Number 2, never check computers, hard drives, memory cards, batteries, anything that you would need, guys. Don't ever check that stuff. It may not be your gear for your job, but it's how you cope, it's how you work, it's how you manage your life away from your job while you're out on the road. So think of the precious, private, confidential things you have on computers, hard drives, so on and so forth. Make sure that you always have those on your person. Another piece of advice that I would give all of you guys out there is make sure that you encrypt and put passwords on your hard drives. So if by some horrible happenstance you happen to lose your memory cards or your hard drives or your computer, make sure it's password protected, because that would be a nightmare if somebody got onto some confidential information. That would really put you in a tough spot, so make sure you do that. Number 3, never check your medication, permits, paperwork, anything that you need to do your job. A lot of the times, as a photographer, if I'm going to go and shoot someplace, I may have a contract with me. I may have special credentials with me that I need to utilize for my shoot. You know, when I go and shoot an NFL game or stuff of that nature, or whatever else I might do, I have a credential, and I cannot get into that event without that credential. Don't ever check that stuff. If you have permits or stuff that you have obtained to go and do your job, never check that stuff. Getting copies of that stuff could be a nightmare, and it could prevent you from being able to do your job. So whatever your job is, make sure that you have all the paperwork with you to be able to do that job. Bottom line, what belongs in a suitcase? Clothes, anything that, I mean, sometimes even for photographers, sometimes we have to pack gear that's bigger, huge light stands, big lights, whatever it might be. And I get that, but and I do that as well, but it's never vital to the job. I can always find a way to get around it. It's just a bonus. So if it has to be with me, it comes on my person. And for that reason, I try to pack as minimally as I can. Number 4, whenever possible, make sure to book a nonstop flight. Now, for me, those seem to come few and far in between. Those seem to be rare. But booking a nonstop flight means the potential to have a lot less problems. Booking a nonstop flight means you get there, there's no mess ups with incoming planes, outgoing planes, so on and so forth. That can really screw you up. Usually, as long as you arrive to your plane on time, you are good to go. If you have a nonstop flight and that flight leaves late, well, who cares? I mean, it may suck a little bit, but who cares? Because you are still going to get there. So even if it leaves an hour late, you are going to get there. Well, if that same plane leaves an hour late from your original departure area and you have a layover, chances are you're going to miss that layover. Then you're going to get bumped. Then you're going to get on standby. Then all sorts of crap's going to happen. The second thing, try and stay away from short layovers. That's probably the biggest thing I can give you a recommendation on. What constitutes a short layover? If you see that your layover is about 30 to 40 minutes, that's pretty tight. I used to book flights and be like, oh, I don't want to be in the airport for an hour or an hour and a half layover. Now, if I have those layovers, I'm very happy. I have a cushion. Also gives me time to use the restroom, get a bite to eat, so on and so forth. And what happens is a lot of times these airlines, they book you and they give you a very short layover, and then they book you across the airport. And you have to go from one terminal to another. See, when you see these layovers, you think, oh, I'll be able to make that. Well, the problem is they book you, like if you fly into Salt Lake, they'll book you into Terminal 2, and then you go to Terminal 3. Sometimes that could take a good 15 minutes. And the other thing is when you're looking at your flights and it says, oh, it departs at 7:30, well, they usually close the doors at least 15 minutes prior, 10, 15 minutes prior. So you may think, oh, I land at 7 and then the next flight takes off at 7:30. That only gives you 15-minute leeway to get onto that flight. So keep that in mind, guys, when you're booking these flights. Short layovers suck. Number 5, join loyalty programs. The most important thing with airlines is the priority boarding. The free upgrades are great. All that kind of stuff is fantastic. But what really matters the most is priority boarding, and here's why. You want to make sure that you arrive to your flight early. You don't want to board late. Why? Remember I told you about trying to get your gear on? Trying to make sure that make sure you have the gear that fits into the spaces. Another piece of advice for gear is make sure that you have a backpack and a roller. If you have 2 roller bags, they're going to block you. So you want to make sure that you're there at least 45 minutes prior to departure. You want to board as quickly as you can. Why? It's not just so you can sit down. You want to board so you have space. Because once the plane gets about 70% full, what they start doing is pink tagging the bags. They start putting tags on all the bags so you can't board with your bags. So even if it's the right carry-on size, they'll take you down the jetway, and maybe a lot of the times as you're giving your ticket, they'll pink tag it saying you have to gate check it. Don't gate check your bags. It blows. Gate check sucks because they tell you that if you gate check the bag, once you get off the plane, once you deplane, they're going to give it to you right there in the jetway. A lot of the times that's true. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes, based on various factors, the pilot and or airline can decide to send your gate checked bag through baggage claim. If they send it through baggage claim, well, guess what? What if your bags disappear? Your gear's gone. That's another reason why the loyalty program is fantastic. If you are a gold, platinum, diamond, guess what? They're going to listen to you more. You matter more. They care more about you. Whether it's superficial or not, you are a more long-standing, loyal customer, and they are going to listen to you more. It's that simple. Same goes for hotels, rental cars. I'm with Marriott and Hertz, like I said earlier. And the reason, guys, when you have a problem, they will help. The other thing is, if you do get in a pinch, and this has happened to me as well, you can use your points to check into a hotel rather than having to use money. That's great for family vacations, but if you are in a pinch, it's a safety net. It's a huge safety net. The other thing is with rental cars, if you are part of a loyalty program, you don't have to wait in the lines, and with a lot of them, you can just walk right to your car. They'll have your name ready, and they'll call your name on the shuttle, and then they'll give you your keys right as you get off. So that's fantastic, because you want to be able to beat those lines getting out of those rental car agencies, because the best part of any travel begins when you're finally in your rental car away from the airport. The airports blow. Without these loyalty programs, it would make life even more miserable when traveling. It really would. Number 6, we've spoken about checked baggage. Well, what do you do when checked baggage doesn't arrive? Don't wait around the airport forever. If you don't see your bag after just a little while, it's probably not going to come. You need to go to the baggage claim area, the service desk there, and file a missing report for your bags. Now, they're going to say, oh, sir, I'm sorry, we don't have your bag. And you're going to say, yes, I know. I obviously know you don't have my bag, so I need you guys to tell me what my reimbursement will be to replace, even temporarily, the belongings in my bag so I can carry on throughout my trip. And then they'll say, oh, well, they'll give you a bag and it has like a toothbrush and a pillow or mouthwash or something in it. It's worthless. They'll usually give you a T-shirt in there that's like the size for a 2-year-old, and it'll say Delta on it, so it'll really piss you off because you'll be reminded of the fact that they're the ones who lost your luggage. That's brilliant. What you need to do is tell them, no, I need to go buy clothes and I need to continue on my trip. "Oh, sir, the bag will be here in the next 2 to 3 hours." Well, then you're going to need to send it to my hotel. You give them the forwarding address and have them send it to your hotel. I've never waited around, and I won't. I need to get on with my business. This is what they'll say to you. Well, just tell me how. Just buy what you need, and then when you come back, you can give us the bill. What they don't tell you is there is a cap. So if you go out and blow a bunch of money, you may not get reimbursed, and that would suck. So confirm with the airline. If the baggage claim desk won't give you a definitive number, call the airline and ask what your limit is. If it extends more than one day, you need to keep calling the airline and telling them that you have more and more needs. So make sure to do that. Be aware of the fact that a lot of the times when that missing bag comes, that they will send it to your hotel, and a lot of the times if it's after hours, which is usually when they arrive, they will leave it at the front desk, so you need to give them authorization to do so. A lot of times too, the baggage delivery service it's always a third party service. It's that Delta or whoever contracts out, and they'll usually have a phone number. Some guy on a cell phone is going to call you and tell you he has your bag. So I mean, the only downer when they do it off times is you have no way to verify that everything is in your bag. I will say this: out of everything that I've ever had delivered, no one's ever taken anything out of my bag, so that's a plus. But just keep that in mind when you guys are dealing with this issue. Then what you'll do is when you get back to the airport, you will go back to the baggage claim area. You will submit your receipts. They will review your receipts, and then they will give you a summary, like a folio you would receive from a hotel. That will notate just how much you spent, and then you will receive a check from the airline. So you know what sucks is, even though the airline loses your stuff, if you don't have discretionary funds to replace what they've lost, you have no way to survive except in your dirty old clothes until your baggage arrives. What if your baggage doesn't arrive? That blows. And I've been fortunate that I have the funds and the means to be able to replace pants or shirts or underwear, whatever it is. But what if you don't? That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You have to shell out your money. I said that to Delta one time. I said, I'm glad I actually have $500 I can spend to replace this stuff. What if I didn't have it? There's certainly been times in my life I didn't have $500 to go replace stuff. Or if you're traveling with a family, you've got to replace clothes for 5 kids, 7, whatever, however many you have. So keep that in mind. Just have a little bit of wiggle room, a little bit of cushion when you travel. It can go a long way to making your life comfortable versus miserable. Number 7. This one is important. If you lose something on a plane, it goes into a black hole. It is sucked in by Zeus, and it is gone. I have never, in my time flying with Delta and other airlines, received anything, and I mean anything, back that's been lost on a plane. Things I know for a fact are lost on a plane. Never see them again. You want some examples? None of us are perfect, and I have forgotten things on planes. And so just on the trip over, this has been a doozy of a trip. On the trip out to the East Coast, which I'm trying to return home from now, I left my headphones on the seat because I was helping a lady with her luggage, and I forgot them and had to run. So when I boarded the other plane, this was one of the rare circumstances where the gates were very close to each other. So I boarded my next plane and realized, oh my gosh, I left my headphones on at the other plane. I asked for permission. I got off that plane, ran to the other gate, went back. It was only 10 minutes since I had left that plane, so the headphones are gone. Gone. Adios. No record, nothing. To make matters worse, you can't even speak to a live human being with Delta. You have to fill out a form that goes to the Wizard of Oz somewhere on their website that nobody probably ever checks. And you want to know what's even better? When I went to that guy, he went onto the plane and checked and said, "I'm sorry, sir, there are no headphones." Now, I believe he was telling me the truth. What that tells me is the crew who goes in there and cleans, they took my headphones. So when he came back out and he said, "I'm sorry, sir, they're not there," and I said, "Well, that means it's gone to the black hole. I'll never see it again." He sighed. He said, "Ugh," and he said, "Yeah, that's about right." I'm not making this up. When you leave something on a plane, they will not allow you to go back on that plane. If you walk off that plane, you cannot go back on. They will not allow you. So unless I'm on a huge layover, a really tight layover, what I do is I get off the plane, because there's more room for me. Once I've exited the plane, before I walk down the jetway past the gate agent, I do a check. Check my pockets, check everything. I do a count. Okay, I had a cell phone, wallet, keys, head pillow, so on and so forth. I check all those things, and I actually do a checklist. That's the only way I can remember everything, because when you're traveling, you're sleeping, it's disconcerting, you're in pain, whatever it is. So make sure that you guys are doing whatever you can to check that. Because if you don't check it before you walk past that gate agent, you're not getting back on the plane. Not getting back on. So keep that in mind, guys. Number 8, guys, and this one is very important. Nowadays, we all live off of our smartphones. All of us do. Virtually all of us. I know I do. And so for that reason, it's very important that we prep our phones for travel. So what does that mean? Make sure that you always have a wall and car charger available. Sometimes I've had to plug my car charger into a taxi because it's, because I haven't been able to get a rental car or whatever it might be, or it's too late, the rental car agencies are closed, whatever it might be. Car chargers are important. Make sure that you have a power outlet. Make sure that you have a little, like a power strip. You can get a travel power strip. Why is that important? Well, have you ever been in an airport and you have to jockey for position with other people to plug in your gear? The other thing you can do that's really cool is if both outlets are already being used by somebody, you can say, hey, look, can I plug my power out strip in, and then you can just plug into mine so both of us can use it, and unless the person's a complete moron, they'll allow you to do what most people do. So that's a really great way for you guys to stay on the go. Your phone is your lifeline to not only your social media and your family, it's your lifeline for traveling. Almost every traveling entity, from the airlines to the hotels to the rental car agencies, even Expedia, they all have apps. I highly recommend that you download those apps and have them on your phone. It will make your life very, 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 very easy compared to not having them loaded. Why? For example, when Delta flies late, never happens, just kidding, that's sarcastic. When Delta flies late, I can get on to the Wi-Fi there, and they don't even charge you if you're using the Delta app, which is nice. And I can get onto my Delta app, and I can look and already start looking for alternate flights if I need to. That's a huge benefit. I'm actually checking that while I know I'm late. While I know my original flight's late, I'm already looking to rebook. Now, same goes through like Marriott. Marriott has an app that I'll utilize. I can actually check into my hotel on my phone, which is really awesome. One last note on the phones. I have an iPhone 6s, and it has the Wi-Fi hotspot, as do I know many, many, many phones do. Make sure your phone has one. A lot of times you'll end up at an airport or somewhere where you need to utilize your computer, and the internet's either something that you pay for or their internet is down. So make sure that you have that. On that note, I use T-Mobile. Why do I use T-Mobile? Because I fly all over the world. T-Mobile is by far the best carrier for international plans. I don't pay anything for my text or data when I fly internationally. But if that's not an option for you, I would recommend that you get an unlocked phone. Usually get a Droid, an unlocked phone, and then you can, when you get to your destination, you can, if it's a foreign destination, you can buy a SIM card. There's lots of kiosks and stuff that sell you those SIM cards. They're not going to work. Doesn't mean the SIM card's bad. It doesn't mean it's a ripoff. But unless somebody activates it, it's not going to work. They're going to put it, you're going to buy it, you're going to put it in your phone, you're going to expect it to work, and it doesn't work. Here's how you know that a SIM card is going to work. You need to walk up to one of the places. You need to just ask around local information while you're still in the airport. That's the important part. Do it while you're in the airport. So you arrive at your destination, and you get there, and then you say, hey, where can I buy a SIM card? And they'll point you to it. Before you leave there, you'll know that they've done it right if they take your passport. I know it sounds weird, but if they take your passport information and they activate it, they activate the phone there. You want to have them call you. You want to make sure that you receive an email. Give them your email address. Have them send you an email. Open up your Facebook, your YouTube, whatever it is. Make sure that it's actually receiving data. If you have a phone, a smartphone, that's not T-Mobile, or your T-Mobile plan doesn't include international, make sure to turn your phone off. Put it on airplane mode for the entire trip. I went to Ireland and I left my phone on just to I thought it was just receiving emails and stuff and not a big deal. $2,000 I racked up in 11 days because I have a pretty large social media following, and so people were following me, and I'm responding to people, and before I knew it, I'm screwed. Totally hosed. So the Wi-Fi hotspot, make sure to load the apps on your phone and make sure your phone is always able to be in use. And pick up an extra battery. Those extra batteries, they matter. Pick up those batteries that are charged and they're a little block. One last note on phones, make sure to turn them on airplane mode, not because the FAA tells you to, but because it will save your battery life on your phone. When you are flying and your phone is constantly checking for a signal, it is draining your battery, and you'll notice if you forget to do so, your phone will be really hot when you pick it up. It's because that processor is just spinning in there. So make sure that when you are flying to put your phone in airplane mode so you can save your battery life. Number 9. Bring backup T-shirt, toiletry bag. Even though they'll hand you some chintzy little thing at the airport, it really sucks to not have. If they lost your luggage or whatever, it really sucks to not have a few goodies. So make sure that you have that. Also, one thing I really recommend is make sure that you have another ID that is not part of your wallet. So in case you do lose your wallet, you can identify yourself. I was in Paris and I had my jacket. 3 guys came in and did an attempted carjacking. I fought them off, but they managed to steal my jacket, my North Face jacket with my wallet inside. Luckily, I had my passport inside of my pants, inside of my jeans, that's where I always keep my passport. And because of that, I was able to get home, and that was very, very important. To that end, make sure that you make copies to where you at least can identify yourself if need be. Even if you make a copy and it's on your email somewhere or somewhere online to where you can look it up if you need to get in touch with the embassy and tell them who you are. If you don't have any paperwork or if you don't have a legal document, at least you can start the proceedings. It'll be much quicker if you have an actual copy of it, even digitally, so you can access that and show it to them. Number 10, money. How do you handle money when you travel? Not just internationally, but also domestically. Let's talk domestic real quick. One thing you want to make sure to always do is bring cash. If you don't bring cash, you can end up in a pickle. You can end up in a spot where your credit card or debit card has been flagged for fraudulent charges because you're traveling. Make sure to notify your bank and let them know that you're going to travel. Even if you do that, they still might block your card. It's happened to me many times. Either if it's my PayPal card or Bank of America or whatever it is, they will put a travel block on it. Wells Fargo, all of them have done it because they're trying to mitigate their loss. So make sure to notify them. Make sure to let them know. Make sure to know what your bank's operating hours are. Many times I've had issues. My wife and I were stuck in Australia, and Bank of America froze our card, and they were closed. They wouldn't undo it. The only way for me to get in touch with anyone was for me to call their fraud department. To that end, if you are traveling internationally, when you get to the airport, I recommend that you do exchange a good amount of money for the foreign currency. It's not a guarantee that you'll always be able to cash out your money once you arrive at your new destination. There are certain third world countries or lesser developed countries that, quite frankly, don't have the infrastructure in place to be able to either do it from a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people line up for exchange services to exchange money. They said, sorry, we're out of money. Come back tomorrow. I've seen places say, well, we're closed. Your flight came in late, so there's no money. So if you have the opportunity to exchange money at your U.S. destination prior to your departure, I recommend that you do that. Another thing that's really cool is I think it's a service called TravelX that they allow you to give money. So you can give money and then they will put it on a debit card that works in that country. So I was just in Australia recently and I was able to do that. So I was able to put money on that. And the reason that's important, you may say to yourself, or someone may tell you that your debit or credit card is going to work in that other country. And sometimes that's not true. A lot of different countries, especially when it comes to debit cards, they have to have a PIN or something else embedded in the card for it to be able to work in that given country. You may take your debit card there and it doesn't work. I always put like $1,000 on, or however much I need to spend for the given time that I'm there. Put $1,000 on that TravelX charge card, and then I'll always exchange some for cash as well. Another piece of advice, this is a little bonus tip. Make sure to take a an iPad or something, a tablet, because even if they don't have TVs on the planes nowadays, most airlines will have some sort of onboard entertainment, but you have to access their Wi-Fi to be able to watch the stuff. And usually they'll at least have some of it for free if you have your iPad or phone. So just keep that in mind. It's a little bonus tip. Stay out of the exit rows that have limited recline. The limited recline are pretty much no recline. They suck. So you may say, oh, this is awesome, I got all this leg room. It's not worth not being able to recline. It's not. So I hope this has helped, guys. I'm going to do the wrap up here and then I'll show you my gear. But I hope this has helped. I'm having to film this on my little camcorder because all my tripods and stuff are in my check bags, but my gear, my cameras are with me. So what does that mean? If I had to, I could go get a tripod. I don't need a carbon fiber tripod all the time. If I was stuck here and I had to do a job, I really could run and get a $50 tripod and do my job. So I've had to smash the camcorder inside of the TV nook, and I'm using my rotolight to illuminate me. I'm sure I've forgotten something. It's 12:35. I started this right before the New Year's, so happy 2016 to all of you guys out there. But I'm sure I've forgotten something, but I think I've covered a lot. And I'm just trying to share what I've learned, and I wish I knew years and years and years ago. Because traveling, like I said, it's awesome, but it can be very tiring and very hard. And right now, all I want to do is go home. So until next time, keep shooting, never give up on your dreams. Find the right gear that works for you. And happy travels, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.